John
Hi,
Connolly.
Emerson.
How are you doing,
Hi
John?
there. Good. Yourself?
I'm really good. Just been busy lately, but really good. How are you?
Seems like you're busy. All right. Yeah, busy enough here too.
That's good. That's good. So what seems to be happening?
Oh, I don't know. I enjoyed last night's meeting, I must say.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, just the meetings of late seem to be a little bit more clearer, I suppose, or I can kind of just identify kind of, I suppose, a lot with what kind of is going on. Or what's being said rather. It's like I said, okay, let's have a one-to-one with Emerson. Let's do something about having this about motivating a shift here.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
think,
Yeah. It's
because thinking doesn't.
sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just that it's all kind of thinking about what's being said
Yeah.
at meetings, thinking kind of thinking, and at
Yeah.
the same time, um, there's a kind of a sense at another level that yeah, there's that it's obvious at many levels, I
Yeah.
suppose, that there's it's more and more obvious in different kind of examples every day that there's no free will and choice.
Yeah.
But just vividly obvious, and and um and at the same time, then I'm simultaneously involved in the drama as if it's real.
Yeah. And that's the way it is. There's nothing really wrong with that or right for that matter with it, right? It's just what it is. Trying to, get out of that thinking is another thinking, isn't it?
Hmm.
Trying to change the situation is thinking that you have a free will or choice. So
I'm not so sure
so
that
free
I'm
will,
actually that
so
I'm
free
not so
will.
sure that I'm
Sorry, go ahead.
thinking. I'm
Yeah.
not so sure that I'm actually trying to get out of the thinking.
Okay.
It's more like I can see that this is the thinking, this is the way it is.
Yeah.
No kind of
But
influence over that whatsoever. But
but
at the same time,
why is there thinking seems to be about thinking then? It's very subtle now, right? There's still something there because there's still something there that wants a different, not a way out sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Could be just a noticing seems to be.
yeah,
Yeah. So that's just another thinking.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is kind of almost like the awareness of the thinking, which is dualism,
That's
and
right.
it's
Yeah.
and it's yeah, illusionary.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it is. But that's what it is. Right. So um the character, John, can only, function in the framework of thoughts.
Hmm.
That's the only parameters that it does, right? So it can either be witnessing it, judging it, criticizing it, wanting to get out of it, or even noticing it. But it's just a thought, noticing a thought, maintaining a thought behind a thought.
Hmm.
And all are irrelevant. It's all
Yeah.
irrelevant. And that's just, it's a sweeping comment, right? But it's irrelevant. It's like thinking that the cloud is you making the cloud either, dark or bright. It's the same thing, right? It's just a
Yeah.
cloud.
Yeah.
It's just a
Yeah.
thought. It's
Yeah.
irrelevant. It's just a cloud. It's irrelevant. There might be some rain. It could be heavy. Then that's what it is too. or it could be really
Mm.
light and sparse, like when you have a clear sky. That's what it is too. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. And that's what kind of like what I think yesterday, I can't remember what I was saying, but the reality has meaning because of the character who gives it meaning. That's what it is. But it's irrelevant
Yeah.
because the character that gives it meaning is also irrelevant. It's just a thought.
It's
So
just a thought as well.
yeah. So in other words, there's no world really or no reality beyond your own perspective. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
that it's denying reality. It's simply a description of how things are. Saying like for example, take kind of like the car, for instance, that's in front of you. It means something to me because it's a part of my life, basically, right? You've driven it many times and you've had it for a long time or whatever. The car is connected to your perspective or your past, right? You remember cars basically on, your dad probably had a car, your mom had a car. Um, probably brought you joy or kind of like frustration over the years. Without the car, the life would be different, right? So the
Right.
word car holds a universe of meaning for you. So how can you separate yourself from the concept of a car? You know, um, you give it value, purpose, and meaning. So that's the
Yeah.
subtle thing about the character, right? You give it value, purpose, or meaning. Meaning that the thought of John has to either have a shift or something. It doesn't have to have a shift because shift is also another irrelevant thought.
So it's just the familiarity with the
Yeah,
character, the notion of the character, same as the familiarity with an object like a car.
exactly. Yeah, that's what it is. It's you just basically it's a thought about a thought being an awareness of an awareness or something, but there's really no one aware.
Hmm. So
So
yeah,
there's really nothing really behind that awareness. Basically, there's no character behind the John character. There's nothing really behind it. It's empty. It's
hmm,
irrelevant. Let me put it in a different framework. Like for example, when you're dreaming, you could be completely aware vividly of the dream, right? You could be like, this time I was really lucid and everything, but I wanted to be completely lucid. Even the lucidity in that dream is still a dream.
hmm,
The moment that you wake up, everything gets thrown out. You know what I'm saying? Completely. Nothing mattered. And this is the same from moment to moment to moment to moment to moment. It's irrelevant, it's irrelevant, it's irrelevant, it's irrelevant, it's irrelevant. And all of a sudden, the relevance, meaning the what is just seen as it is. Neither relevant or irrelevant. It's just what is.
hmm,
It's almost like there is a lag in thinking, and that's the thought. It's almost
hmm.
like behind what is. It's a shadow of what is. Then it thinks that, oh, I wish it was a better day. I wish I was as clear or whatever. And these meetings, what I'm saying, it's kind of funny, right? When it gets clearer and clearer and clearer, it's almost like you're beginning to, you know, um, dissociate from that mental pattern of thoughts almost. I don't know if you see it. You're beginning to see
A
it, right?
little bit,
It's
a little bit. Yeah, there's a kind of a less, a
weight to it.
less given. Well, yeah, less given a shit about things, or being concerned about things. Even when I say things, mainly relationships and stuff. Um, Seeing the drama in people's kind of uh, addiction to self or whatever, and the the real their people's kind of um and looking at my partner more than anything else, and the kids and different things, and it's like the seriousness, the way they see things so seriously,
Yeah.
it's becoming kind of hilarious, really,
Yeah.
because it's like fucking hell. I took all these things so seriously as well, and nothing could be further from not the truth, but from reality or whatever. Um, so it's like there's a kind of a looseness about the seriousness about life, I suppose, that I took so
That's what
seriously
it
for so
is.
long.
That's what it is. when the weight of things seems to, seem to kind of like part, basically like heavy cloud seems to part almost, or it's not that heavy anymore, it's not that difficult anymore, and it becomes a little bit innocent now. No one's at fault anymore. I don't know if you're beginning to see that. It's almost like a lightness of being, although there's no being. Whereas before there was kind of like a getting into it, seriousness and everything. It's because what seems to appear is just and this is going to sound kind of like, really kind of like difficult to understand. It's not about understanding, actually. It's just that every thought about others, even what you hear from others, is your thought about others, meaning that um, when you see that there's really no others other than your thoughts of others, or any situation other than your thoughts about the situation, then it becomes almost like a play, almost like a the seriousness. It's like kind of like what Shakespeare said, right? It's an empty stage. Everyone's just a player.
But then then the phone rings, or there's a message or something, and it's like you're pulled back into it.
Of
It's like
course, of course.
you pulled it
It's like a
yesterday.
method
Like,
actor, right? A method actor can really, really believe what they're saying, and that's when they win awards and everything. Is when you get caught up in there. Like if you notice that in a movie, for example, um, when you connect with the person, someone when they're crying, you know what I'm saying? When they're at that heavy emotion, that part
mm,
where this movie that I watched lately with Brendan Fraser, that whale, when he was talking about his suffering, and how hard it is to be him and everything, then it
mm,
creates a connection, a resonance or whatever. And then you lose kind of like sight that it's a movie. Do you
yeah,
believe in the
yeah, yeah.
reality of it? Or the opposite side is, it's those moments that are seemingly, or the laughing things, in a comedy, is when you laugh completely, or when you get scared,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying, in a movie. You lose
But
the
yet those.
reality that it's a movie. It's you're connected to it somewhat, right? Meaning that
Mm,
it's just a play, and you're in the play now. You're laughing with now, or you're crying, or whatever. The way that I explain this communication, or what's being expressed here, is kind of like, you're in a dark movie theater. You're really, really engaged in your life, and you think you need to get out of it and everything, but it's a movie that you can't get out of. And then the door slightly opens, and there's an usher. And then you kind of like, you're kind of like, oh shit, it's just a movie. And then you stand up for a moment, and you get some popcorn, and you get back into it. But now you have a
yeah,
popcorn. It's a show now.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
it
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
have to be, what the thing about listening to this is that every speaker, or every um teacher, or whatever, will have their you know story of dropping away.
Mm,
Every story of dropping away, although there's no me to drop away, is different.
mm.
It's not going to be the same. It's not a cookie cutter, so to speak, right? So I know there's already clarity there, but there's just little dribs and drabs of clarity here and there.
That's it. Yeah.
for
Mm,
for this character, you know what? I had that big thing because I was so caught up. It's like, when you're so caught up, and then
mm,
the you're so caught up, and then the door opens in a movie theater. You're like, oh shoot.
mm,
And then instead of watching the show, you know what I'm saying, you just turn the light on. You're like just watching it, because you know,
mm.
but it doesn't have to be the same, meaning that it's already done. You're already finished, John. You've already
But
seen
like
that
you said,
it's a movie, but you can't even identify what it is that you're looking at.
mhm.
Yeah,
But like you said yesterday, it is the perfect illusion because it
it
seems
is.
so real.
It is. It is. It's so perfect. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't poke a hole into it,
Mm,
because the more you dig into the illusion, the deeper you get into the illusion. Meaning there's
mhm,
no way out of the illusion because it's perfect. You're not going to see the seams, kind of like, oh, I see a seam there. There's something, there's a little glitch there or something. The glitch will be also an illusion,
mm.
because the illusion can get out of the illusion, because it will just create more illusion.
Yeah, and I think that's where I'm stuck at some. Or so I think I'm stuck.
No, you're not. That's just another thought. So you just came up with something that's illusory.
Mhm, mm.
No one's stuck in the illusion. It's not even an illusion, really. It's just It's kind of like an illusion and reality simultaneously appearing, like a dream. Like in a dream, for example, you will not be able to tell it's a dream most of the time anyway. Right? It's hard, it's difficult. Like um I was talking to a friend, and he was just saying that, oh, in my dream, he goes, I really believed it, Emerson. He was it's and then sometimes are vivid, sometimes, and for I don't know, I don't really have a lot of dreams now. Like I dream of, it's just really blank. It's like a blue ocean. Meaning it's really peaceful.
It's
It's
like
really
I woke up from a nighttime dream a few weeks ago. I don't remember any of it, but I remember waking up and I was thinking, fuck,
yeah,
that's it.
yeah,
And it was all I remember was like some real bright but
yeah,
clear. That's the vagueness of what I remember. But
yeah.
as the day went on, I remembered less and less.
That's it actually. It's vague. It's unknowable, right? So it's, you can't figure it out. It's like this.
Mm,
But in this illusion, there's a thought that you're figure this out. Because if you
mm,
you point out outside your car, there's a tree, there's green, there's air, whatever, right? So there's a
mm.
film, what I'm saying, or there's a filter where it's a filter of knowing. But that's
Yeah.
the illusion, because there's no one really that knows. Again, kind of like the example that I was making yesterday, right? Like a hat or a candle, it holds a whole bunch of memories for you. But is that really a hat or a candle? You know what I'm saying? Is that really, is that actually reality? Outside of your perspective, you know what I'm saying? Everything has some meaning because it's a part of your so-called life, right? Towel, chair, car, greens, they all carry your history. But the thing is,
Mm,
though, what's really history rather than a figment of imagination now? So basically, you made sense of them in your own way. And there's nothing wrong or right about that. Um, so the whole world only matters, or your reality only matters, because you are giving it meaning. It's not some, dive into crazy. It's not really like solipsism or denying it's not real. It's just the way the things are. The way you give it meaning, but every meaning is meaningless. See, that's the seeming meaning, meaningful, meaningless. Meaning it's a car with, drives you or whatever, but it's meaningless. It's just a word. So what is appearing as this vehicle that you're in. What is appearing as your thoughts about the vehicle that you're in. What is appearing as these thoughts about you with the history. So it creates this narrative in a blank page, and everything is fresh and new.
mm.
There's really no car. There's really no greens. There's really no words from the past. It's creating it on the go,
Mm,
automatically, like this, like this, like this. You know what I'm saying? So there's this
mm,
momentlessness here. And what is permanent is that space, that empty space, that glaringly obvious that nothing ever moves, meaning where everything seems to emanate from. Because
Well, yeah,
everything that moves comes in and out, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like cloud and everything, but
mm,
there's always a blank canvas or a sky that's there.
mm,
Or kind of like, if you go to an ocean, it's like the bottom of the ocean is completely still. It never moves. Yet on the surface, there's waves. So you get focused on the waves when everything is as it is already.
and
So what you're looking
that's
at basically is empty, but it's full and alive. But what's full and alive comes and goes. When you go
mm,
to sleep, it's empty again. When you're doing something that you love, or something that is, requires your full attention, it's empty again.
mm. And at times that's obvious. Obvious might be a strong way of describing it.
Yeah.
It's somewhat clear sometimes that all of this is within, not separate from, but within complete emptiness and silence.
Yeah, yeah,
That,
that's
that
it. That's it. It can't be separated. The emptiness and silence can't be separated from whatever is happening. So if you kind of like if you look at it of, there's really nothing real. I have to express it in words, right? So the only thing that's real is silence and emptiness. Because it's never changed. The thing that
I
comes,
think so.
the thing that's coming in and out is a dream, like words, for example. That's a dream.
Mm,
Thoughts,
mm,
that's a dream. Ideas, that's a dream. Sensations, that's a dream. Feeling
mm,
contracted, that's a dream. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not permanent.
mm,
Even pain is a dream. It's kind of weird to say that, but it is.
mm,
You feel it absolutely real. It might be a recurring dream, kind of like a toothache or something that you've had for a couple of weeks or something.
mm,
In the dream, you go to the doctor, it gets better and everything, and it's the same thing again. But
mm,
in deep sleep, there's no pain. So the permanent thing is what already is. It's what you're longing for is always there.
mm,
It's in everything that you see, it's in everything that you feel. There's always a blank canvas, so to speak, that's not separate from the painting. So the painting is like a painting that comes alive, and it magically erases at night. And it comes alive in words, in thoughts, in feelings, in sensations, in John and everything. But it gets wiped clean.
mm,
And then it comes back again. You know what I'm saying? It's beautiful if you really look at it. It's a masterpiece.
mm,
And you can't put a hole in it. You can't poke at it. The art is the illusion. It's a perfect illusion. It's a masterpiece. It's artistic. It's like, wow. It's got dramatic stuff, and sometimes it's boring. You know what I'm saying? Which is also a masterpiece, right?
yeah, yeah.
It's beautiful. And there are parts that you're serious with your family. Now that seriousness is loosening up, you're beginning to step backwards and see the whole picture now, that it's just a painting. And the
Mm,
painting, I'm saying, can evoke many emotions, especially those grand masterpieces that you see in those museums, right? There's this lightness from the sky with angels and everything, and there's this torture, from demons and everything, murder and mayhem and everything in between. And then you're like, oh, it's just a painting. I
mm.
hope your life is not like that, but but seeking can be similar to that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And that's what it is. Like, the reason I can laugh at it, laugh about all that suffering now, is because I just see it as a painting, and all
Mm,
the dark hues, all of the darkness of whatever that happened is part of the painting. It makes it this masterpiece.
mm.
But it's
Perfect
really
illusion.
perfect illusion, but it's really just a blank canvas. It's an infinite blank canvas. This
Mm,
this grand masterpiece is appearing, right? And then again, when you die, everything collapses into nothing again. Although you didn't
mm,
really die, because what you really are, although there's no you, is the blank canvas. That's what's permanent, and that's peaceful no matter what. All this
mm.
chaos that seems to appear. So you can say that you die every night.
So it's only the human being really that is stuck in duality, really. Everything. I just
Yeah.
look at my cat, my cat at home and the way the cat
Oh my
behaves.
goodness. They're perfect, aren't they?
Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Even
like
even
fuck.
their little, mischievousness is perfect. It's innocent. They don't think
Yeah,
it's wrong or right. Yeah.
but living, existing or whatever, completely in not even the present moment, but just there.
Yeah.
Sometimes if I'm doing something and the cat's annoying me, I'll bat the cat away. Then
Yeah.
I feel guilty about it. 2 seconds later, the cat's forgotten about it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Especially, in my little puppy, because I was not used to how small she was, right? I would step on her little paw sometimes while walking, and she'd be like,
Yeah,
and the moment, you say, oh, I'm so sorry, she's licking your head, like, it's okay, it's okay. She's almost like apologizing that you're petrified, like you're that's what I
mm,
mean. There's really no imagine if she had a thought, if the
mm,
dog had a thought about how horrible my master is, it's always stepping on my feet. I'm going to exact a revenge on him or whatever.
mm, mm.
Or again, if you look at all of these abused pets, you know what I'm saying? They might have some seeming kind of like, conditioning or whatever, but it's so easy to break that conditioning.
Mhm.
The illusion of time is not held on to. It's just what is, because they don't see time. It's just this unknowable infiniteness.
So the one thing I don't get in that regard with time and space,
Yeah.
there's no such thing as time and space. I can see, I suppose, that are clear to
You you
some degree.
will you will never be able to figure it out in thinking, because you are time and space, meaning that the moment that you have a thought, that's time.
Okay.
That's time running, right? The moment that you have, the moment that there's a character, you know what I'm saying, that seems to be moving through time and space, meaning your sensations, that space.
So space in terms of
This,
physical
yeah,
space, like the atmosphere.
physical pace. Yeah, the atmosphere is there's a body moving through, through time and space, which is space basically.
Hmm.
If you take away time and space, none of this exists right now. So you're living in a
Yeah.
bubble of an illusion in time and space.
Hmm.
And that bubble, or sometimes they call it just a wrinkle in timelessness. It's time. When it gets straightened out, meaning that when over time, when there's a wrinkle that happens, it just flattens out and it's infinite.
Hmm.
And they
Hmm.
say that in time, in scientific, right? It's a curve, meaning that there's no
Hmm.
time. It's just this. In Earth, there's time. Like if you
Yeah, I think.
travel outside of Earth, you actually can come back younger or something. I don't know, something. There's an illusion of time. There's a book that I can't remember what it was, but I read it, and basically it's the case that there's no time. And it really,
Hmm.
really made sense in a way, right? Because they can't measure it really. Um, it's an invention by man. Time
Hmm.
actually came when they were trying to figure out crops and everything. So this is
Hmm.
like a timelessness just appearing as this stretch,
Hmm.
and that stretch, that wrinkle, um, the moment that you sleep, there's no time.
Yeah.
So thought is an illusion because it exists in time. So imagine thought trying to figure out time, which will also become a thought about time.
Can't. Yeah.
It can't, yeah. So the whole structure of you, the character, is a structure of time. Your
Hmm.
birth, your past, your memories, and everything. Even language is a structure of time. Will there be a language necessary if there's no time?
Hmm.
Not the way that you think that it's a null or whatever, meaning that you can't, it's beyond your comprehension.
Hmm.
Or even if there's a two, if there's no two, there's no need to converse, really. That's why silence is predominant, it's all encompassing. So the silence that's infinite is timeless,
Hmm.
meaning it doesn't
And
end. It, that
that's obvious.
it
That's
doesn't
obvious
end. It
when
will never. It never began. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah, when
when
they're living.
speakers say that it's undeniable that there's no me, it's basically saying that, oh, it's just silence,
Hmm. And
because
at times that's obvious.
you only exist in a thought.
Hmm.
If you can't think, like people that have amnesia or whatever, they don't even know what they are,
Hmm.
or dementia or something, right?
Hmm.
I went with a friend to see her father, you know what I'm saying? And the the seniors, like the home and everything is just, it's just people that don't have any thoughts anymore, really. They come in
Hmm.
spurts now, you know what I'm saying? And there's
Hmm.
predominant emptiness there. And the suffering only appears when there is thought.
Hmm. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So you only suffer in thought. You only seek in thought. You
Hmm.
only think that there's something wrong in thought. Without thought, there's nothing wrong, all right? Without thought, there's no you.
Hmm. Yeah, my mother had Alzheimer's. She died there a couple of years ago, and we didn't get on in life really, or throughout life. We didn't really get on. We fought quite a lot, but
Yeah.
when she got to this place where she wasn't there, it was one thing that just um made me sit up straight, I suppose, really. It was like kind of just showed me like that the all of all of the drama and the relationship was all in thought.
It's all irrelevant, isn't it? It's all irrelevant. And
Hmm.
that's what's so obvious, that it's so irrelevant. Like
mm.
all these thoughts that I have about what I should be and what I've done are all irrelevant.
Rubbish.
It's rubbish. Yeah, it's rubbish. It's like figuring out that you have a liar in you. And the liar in you, when you figure it out, it's kind of like having a friend that lies all the time, right? You don't believe it anymore after a little
Yeah,
while. Yeah.
you had one you had a one-to-one with someone, and that came up and ended about you were saying you're lying to me. Was it Herloff, or I can't remember who, but it really struck me that that's what's going on a lot of the time. A load of lies.
It's just a load of lies. Yeah. It's a load of BS. It's just, and then
Yeah,
it, and then it's kind of funny, right? The liar, the thoughts and everything will adapt another one's thought, which is also a lie.
say
Meaning
that
that, for
again.
example, the liar, if it gets caught, you know what I'm saying? If it's getting threatened, it will adapt, or it will hold on to someone's words, other person's word, and will say that, well, Emerson said it, there's nothing.
Yeah,
But that's also irrelevant. Whatever I say is irrelevant.
yeah,
There's just a lot of honesty here because I've gone through it all. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Even even in radical non-duality, it becomes gospel to some people. If you notice,
yeah.
there's still a me there. There's still contraction. There's all of this kind
Mm,
of stuff. It's just a
mm,
thought. There's going to be suffering, of course, in the seeking. It's going to feel really contraction and everything. I was fighting it for so long, right? I was in bed, and crying and everything, and I was miserable. I had everything, because I was caught up either in a thought that I am everything or I am nothing. In the
mm,
nothing, kind of like in the opposite side of it, that it's nothing. But I thought what nothing is. I just replaced God with nothing, and nothing is my God now.
yeah.
Yeah. But both are thoughts. It's all
Both are
irrelevant.
thoughts. Mm,
Yeah.
mm, mm, mm,
It's irrelevant. And people don't like hearing this. Even some radical non duality, they're like, oh, no, no, but everything is a thought. It's really that simple.
There doesn't seem to be any resistance to any
Yeah.
of that here at
Good,
all,
good.
really. There's a kind of an openness to it,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. And you know what? And this is just another story, but I see the lightness now. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Compared to the beginning, right? I think what there was one conversation that you were just constantly getting slapped over and over again. You're like, and then you because you kept on coming up with a lot of resistance, right? And now there's a lot of
mm,
openness now. It's um and it's nothing that I say. Actually, you don't have to believe anything that I say, but just that what's obvious is that everything
mm,
is just a thought. That's obvious. Without any
mm.
thought, there's no problem. Without any thought, there's not even seeking or enlightenment or awakening. It's all made up.
Yeah, you
And
said something yesterday about whatever you say or whatever one hears is irrelevant.
it's irrelevant, yeah.
Mm,
So it makes the speaker irrelevant as well.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? And
mm,
I loved, I'm talking to one-on-ones now and everything. I had a couple of people that came and visited me, and they were so kind of like, they were like, okay, I'm sorry that we surprised you, we visited you, but um, we know that you can like have your Sunday meetings and Saturday you're free. So they booked me for like 3 sessions per day for 2 days. And the at the moment, and I just kind of like, I'm like, okay, you know what? It's gonna I was not, um, but I just noticed how crazy the seeking is, right? That they think that by coming here and then booking all of this one-on-ones, you know what I'm saying? So I basically said, I can't do anything for you. There's nothing that I can give you. All I'll
true,
give you
but
is
it's still
words.
I'm still drawn to doing the one-to-one today because it's like a desire for being
So that's
confronted, I
another
suppose.
that's another thought, right? It's irrelevant. But there's no choice in doing that, right? You know what I'm saying? It's just
Mm.
you notice that, right? It just did it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's irrelevant, you know what I'm saying? Because it's already done.
Mm,
But you're beginning to hear that irrelevance over and over again is what you want to hear. And it's basically
mm,
kind of like, and there's an acceptance now of it. It's not even an acceptance or a rejection. It's just what is. It's just the way that things are going. Everything's irrelevant. And it's
Yeah, it's
hard
becoming a little
for,
bit more obvious.
yeah, then it becomes more obvious, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just a thought. Really, if you really look at it, there's only one thought, and that's John.
Mm.
And then John just keeps
From
on
which,
coming up with
from which
thought that,
all other thoughts kind of come then.
what's that?
The thought of John from which all other thoughts kind of ensue.
Exactly. Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. And John is it's like a loop. The moment John thinks, there's a loop. It just keeps on going in the circle. You don't even know when you disengage because there's no John that started or began
Mm.
or ends, really. It's just a loop. It just comes and goes. It's not real, meaning that there's no reality that it was born and it was going to die. It's just what is.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to lose all of these thoughts anyway when you have Alzheimer's or dementia. But you know what?
Mm.
But but what happens is that the character believes in the character's thoughts. It can only function in the character's ideas about what is. Because when it sees that everything is nullified because it doesn't exist really as outside of thought, then meaning that it's not real at all, meaning it's irrelevant. It doesn't have any power. It doesn't have
Yeah,
any
and I suppose
control.
the I know it's probably another thought, but it's like, well, it is another thought, but what's the tricky bit is the human body, the body that's there, the humanity, or
But
the
that's
body that
thought
stays
again.
there.
See again, so John's coming up with the human body and the whole story about that again.
Mm.
Outside of the kind of like what I said, you know what? You only can give meaning to things like body, right? The body has meaning because of the me who gives it meaning.
Mm.
In other words, there is no body beyond your own perspective. It's not denying it, you know what I'm saying? It's just simply a description of how things are. It's just a body.
Mm.
And the thought will, you know what? The illusion will keep on fighting it, right? It's a persistent, and that's why it doesn't have any holes because it'll say, well, there's a body here. I don't know what Emerson's talking about, but it doesn't know that it's just caught up in its own thought again. It just goes in a spiral.
Yeah.
The circle doesn't know it's a circle because it's in a spiral. And we'll keep coming up with it, but it's all bullshit. It's all rubbish. They will
Mm.
say that I have a mother. I can't deny my mother. I can't have a father. No, there are others. No, you know what I'm saying? It's like there is something that is unknowable and it appears as many and appears as this interacting character, but it's not separate.
Mm.
There is this seeming kind of like, tactileness of touching and everything, but it's not separate. It's wondrous, you know what I'm saying? When it's just seen without an attachment of you.
Mm-hmm. Like you said recently about thinking of John, that John is looking from here out, but there's no evidence of that. There's just looking and there's what's seen,
Yeah,
which is no, which doesn't have a location or position.
yeah. It doesn't have
But yet,
anything. There's not even a center.
mm,
There's no operating system, meaning that there's no you. There's nothing that's moving really, because the movement is coming from this illusory time that creates this illusory you, that creates this
mm,
illusory situation, that creates this illusory thought, illusory ideas about the body. The body might decay and everything. It's like the cat is not going to say, you know what I'm saying? But I have a tail. It doesn't know that.
mm,
It even gets surprised sometimes when it sees itself in a reflection.
mm,
It jumps, like I had a cat before, right? Like I'm like, how? It was funny because I thought it was cute as a kitten, but the cat grew 10 years old and it was still kind of like would jump every time that it sees its reflection. But it doesn't care. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
It sees the irrelevance of everything. Well, it doesn't even call it
Mm.
irrelevance. It doesn't have to be relevant because it doesn't have any opposites.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's just what is.
Mm.
What is can appear alone and what is can appear as whole. But since there's not really any separation, like this glass would not need to know it's a glass because it's just a glass.
Mm.
I name it, therefore it's coming from my perspective. So all I do is name things. All I do is label things. But what is around you, what is you, what is in everything cannot be labeled because it doesn't need to. It's not separate. The need to
Yet it's
label it, the need
yet
to,
it.
you and me and everything is just a hallucination.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, like the glass is an hallucination. It's a glass, but it's also not a glass because of what it's made up of. Its particles, all the elements around it,
Yeah.
and everything. It's a glass, but it isn't a glass.
It that's right. Yeah. And again, you know what? You can also say that this is all 99.99% empty. That's what the body is. It's
Mm.
empty. Atom, in atom wise, right? It's 99.99% empty
Mm.
space.
Mm.
You're more space than reality, meaning you're really not there, even with the body. Your thought
Mm.
about the body makes the solidity, makes the pain, you know what I'm saying, real. But again, thought is just another function of the illusion to maintain things as an illusion. But there's no way out of the
Unfortunately,
illusion.
mm.
It's like the illusion lasts for 80 years, but it took billions of years for you to get here. That's how majestic it is, right? So the construct of this illusion is just incredible, right? If you really look at scientifically, there's no time, but somehow time created this, you know, it took like I don't know how many billions of years for you to get here.
Mm.
But you're really nothing because you're an illusion. But it's grand and also empty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
just it's just unthinkable, right? You're like in this
It is
vast
unthinkable.
in this vast universe, you know what I'm saying, with unthinkable mass, right? And
Mm.
there's you're not even a dot in the universe. There's trillions of stars, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
In this observable, and then here there's a focus on John. You know what I'm saying?
Special John.
There was a point that I was like laughing and crying at the absurdity of it, right? Because I like science and, I used to have this facts, about whatever. And then here I was, not even a dot, not even a visibility in the universe, right? I'm saying if you put a map, it's not, I'm not even a needle in a haystack. I'm beyond that. I'm not even an atom, saying it's just mind-boggling, right? That here I was focusing on my on my release from this illusion. But when this illusion is so grand, do you really want to release from it? No.
Yeah, yeah.
The thoughts are just like, now I see it as like, it's just like a GPS from this
Mm.
insignificant, less than a dot persona to seem to function, you know what I'm saying, in this 4 billions in the making to get here with this stage that is so empty and vast that you no one will ever find you.
Mm.
Yet yet it's surrounded with this glorious colors, you know what I'm saying? And um whether that changes, how wonderful is that? And there's an interaction with characters, you know what I'm saying? Although they're just less than a dot as well. You know what I'm saying? And a planet that's less than a dot in the universe, you know what I'm saying? Apparently, that's the only one that has life right now. And there's not
Mm.
even a life without time, meaning life does not exist.
Mm.
So there's a bleep in this apparent, timelessness, and you are it. You're the bleep. You're the illusion. It's like you're a mistake, but you're a perfect mistake.
Mm.
So enjoy the mistake. It's perfect. So thoughts might come and go, but who cares? You know what I'm saying? It's just what is.
Mm.
It's just what it is. So if I feel like picking out now on food and everything, I'm gonna gain so much weight soon. Maybe it is already there. That's what it is too. Who cares?
Yeah, yeah. There's a lightness about all that shite, really.
Yeah. I used to watch every calorie, you know what I'm saying? And I used to kind of like kick myself so much when I had like 2 beers.
Mm.
Or lo and behold, if I got drunk, then I would be in a spiral of shame and guilt. Although
Mm.
no one pays attention to it. Here I am, like in my bed for 2, 3 days, thinking that, oh, the world must hate me and everything. Like I used to be a saint. Now I'm like a drunken fool and everything. And then to come to know that no one even heard that I went out. You're like, oh. Or for example, it's kind of funny, right? Or how in this madness and everything, there could be 100 beautiful comments, but the character only pays attention to the negative comment.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Or there could be 100 of beautiful memories in this illusion anyway. There's really no memories that are so beautiful and everything, right? And somehow that one moment that you feel causes enough trauma, I'm saying, to repeat over and over and
Yeah,
over again.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's all irrelevant. It's all the good ones, the bad ones, the ugly ones, is all irrelevant.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a seeing of that. All right.
There's this intricate masterpiece. If you catch like a bee, and if you look at the bee, it's a wondrous creature. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
If you look at a leaf, you know what I'm saying? There's an eternity there. If you look at a
Mm.
grass of, like a blade of grass with like a little dewdrop in it, you're like, what the hell is this? But
Mm.
since the character is so busy trying to figure out, you know what I'm saying? Um, rather than seeing it as an app to see things that are really not separate as separate things, to bring it
Mm.
pleasure and joy and
Mm.
concern and sadness and thoughts, you know what I'm saying? Or something that is just flat.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's not about thought even getting about rid of thoughts and everything. There's some dark thoughts. It's like the thoughts are like the paint, the colors that creates this canvas, you know what I'm saying, that makes this canvas into this masterpiece. It's the style,
Mm.
right? It could be dark thoughts, it could be light thoughts, it could be whatever, right? And only for all of
Mm.
this painting and thoughts to get washed away. And yet,
And yet it all disappears when you're asleep.
yeah, it's completely gone.
Mm.
Like you won't even know when you're going to get dementia, you know what I'm saying? or or going to get hit by a car, so to speak, right? Again, that's the
Yeah.
story you're not really going to, you know what I'm saying? Because there's no you to get hit to. But in the story anyway, you don't know when it's going to end, but you're looking, you're trying to find the end of it. How
Yeah.
miserable is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh shoot, damn it. I wasted 20, 30 years of trying to figure this out when there's nothing to figure out.
I don't see much of the so-called time gone by and seeking and doing all that as
Oh,
kind of,
good. Yeah.
don't look at it that way, really. Kind of, it's all anyway kind of a present moment kind of experience, or just seeing it is just now. But
But there's not
I
even a
don't.
present moment. See, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're looking for the present moment when there's no present moment. You're looking for a moment when there's not really a moment, because moment, again, is just another tag.
Tag
Again,
of time.
a tag of time. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a special moment, because special is just a tag. It could be the most mundane, boring stuff like, sitting on a toilet. That's it too. It doesn't have to be anything. You know what I'm saying? Just the majestic emptiness of all of this is always there. The silence is always there. So you're looking for the ripples when the ripples are illusion. You're chasing bubbles, which is fine too. There's nothing wrong or right about that.
But there's no this and that. There's just this, really, because
It's just this,
now and
yeah.
then, now
Yeah.
and then doesn't exist. So there's just this, but there's no that. There's just
Yeah.
this.
Exactly. Yeah. There's not there's no this is there's not even a not this. It's just this. So nothing is really denied, nothing is really accepted. It's just this. So the denial and the acceptance of what is just another movement. No movement necessary. If movement happens, that's also okay. It doesn't matter. If you want to play, you play. If you don't, you don't. You know what I'm saying? But there's no you playing. There's no you that's not playing.
But like you said there earlier, or was it last night? I can't remember. But you were talking about the silence and the silence being deafening, and I've kind
Yeah.
of, there's an acknowledgement of that, or kind of seeing of that silence is deafening actually, and then you hear a sound and it doesn't come from the silence. It's just
Yeah.
there and it goes.
Yeah.
It's there and it goes.
Yeah.
But that silence permeates everything. That silence
It
is there
does.
always.
It does. It eats everything, right? It's almost like everything goes back to silence.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like
Or
the sound is a mistake and it always gets corrected by silence.
yeah.
That's what thoughts are, right? Because they're silent too.
Yeah.
It's just a
It's
thought about silence. Yeah.
because when you say something and there's a pause, the silence. I say something and there's a pause, the silence. The
Yeah.
silence is there always.
Always. It never moves, doesn't it?
Mm.
It never changes. It never compromises. It's always there.
No.
Yeah. So you can also say that this talk is silence,
And
because
that's
that's the
the
most
perfect lover.
obvious, it's the most predominant thing. You know what I'm saying? That's the only
And
thing
that's the
that's real
perfect
in this conversation is silence.
silence.
Yeah.
And that's what Tony refers to as the perfect lover.
Yeah. But not a being, not a person. You know what I'm saying? I don't use those words anymore because there's personalization that happens, right? So
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
speakers are just basically like, painters, I'm saying it paints a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. But washes it away completely too, meaning that it destroys the picture. Unless that's the way that I speak. I speak about something, beautifully sometimes, sometimes crass, whatever. And then of course I just saying that it's pointless. It's meaningless.
So the silence is it.
Is it? Yeah, that's it. Like when I'm talking to someone, they're like, I didn't hear what you said. It's not what I heard. Meaning that the silence is always there. It's not heard. But that's what's it. That's it. You got it. That's the recognition that there's no one there, because the one is someone is just another noise. What's always there is silence.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't need to find it because it's always there. You don't need to inquire
But
about it because
it's
it's always
obvious.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's there's no division, isn't it? Right?
There's no division in what.
There's in silence. It's always complete. It's always whole.
Somebody permeates everything. I mean,
It does, yeah.
the backdrop of everything, I guess, because everything that's here, including this, is just an appearance in silence.
Yeah. So basically the silence embraces all the noise and chaos, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it just keeps on spilling over and over and over, right? And that's what it is. You
And
can't
it's
really know it.
colorless.
What's that?
And it's colorless.
It's colorless. Yeah, there you go.
Mm.
And you can't really
Mm.
put any words about it, right? Because it's always there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Again, it's unknowable and it's deafening, right? Because you're like, oh shoot, I can't know it. But it's there. It's there in the
Can't
knowing.
be.
Yeah.
Mm. It can't be known or described. No.
Yeah. And that's when the piece is seen but not understood. It's like you're seeing it, but you're not understanding what you're seeing. This is
But
you're
you're not
looking at
seeing.
peace. Yeah, you're looking at silence basically. And it's just appearing as not silence as you know it, but silence appearing as these colors and everything. But because without these colors, it's silence, isn't it? Without the labels, it's silence, isn't it?
But you can't. It can't be seen either with the imagination
No, no.
of sight.
Yeah. Again, the
It's.
sight
It's.
is only it's only an illusion because you have to call it something.
Yeah.
But are you beginning to see silence now?
Silence can be seen. Yeah, but silence isn't seen by John really. Or.
No, John, because John is also silence. You know what I'm saying? The thought about John is silence, meaning it's irrelevant. It doesn't
Mm.
have any meaning.
But it's just there.
It's just there. Yeah, it's always there. John is the illusion that comes in and out. You know what I'm saying? The
Mm.
pulsation, so to speak, of something that does not move. Or like the art that seems to appear in a painting that's just, um, the infinite canvas. You know what I'm saying? All of this art appearing.
Mm.
I had a photo shoot. The cut it. It's not a. It's just we just have fun. We have some drinks and we have some. She's a photographer, and I went to basically suggested an alley with a lot of graffiti. And that alley is beautiful because it's not illegal here in Toronto to have those artworks, right? So you see a whole bunch of people painting, and all of that graffiti gets completely erased, and a new one comes up again. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then some people will look at that, and for quite a while, people are like, "Oh, why graffiti and everything?" But when it's seen as art, it's art. That's
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
thoughts are too. It's just art, but it's irrelevant. It's silence. It's nothing. Not silence as you know it, but silence as you can never know. Because it's almost like
But yet.
capturing silence in a time spot, right? Because a thought seems to grasp it, but the bubble can't grasp the universe
Mm.
or the vastness. It can't.
But it can be. But it can be seen. But it can be seen that everything that the silence is encompasses everything.
It all encompasses. It's impossible to. You can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again,
Yeah.
you only suffer in thoughts, right? In
Yeah.
silence,
Yeah.
there's no suffering.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. No. It's quiet.
Yeah. That's it. That's basically it. It's so simple.
That's the same word. Silence and quiet is the same word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the same meaning. Yeah.
It is. It is. Yeah. So seeking for silence when it's already there is irrelevant, isn't it?
Well, that can be seen now. Yeah. That
Yeah.
there's no point in seeking for something that's already there.
Yeah. That's it.
Mm. Talk is simple.
Yeah.
Mm. The deafening silence.
Yeah, that's it. Isn't it stunning? It's just that's all that there is really.
Yeah, that's, everything else is only kind of
Noise.
an appearance. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Noise and
noise.
colors and
It's
noise and colors and bullshit and everything.
yeah, but yet that unknowable and deafening silence or peace, it embraces all the noise, right?
Everything, yeah.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah, they're not separate.
No,
Couldn't be separate, no.
no, no. It's and the noise is just a mirage, isn't it? It's like
Yeah,
echoes. It's like echoes of silence, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah,
constant.
yeah.
But you couldn't take it seriously, really,
No,
when the when the silence is there and the peace and the silence is there, you can't take the noise seriously, really.
no, yeah. That's what I mean. That's why I laugh all the time, right? It's like it's
Yeah.
just all noise. It's just a play of noise, and it's just play of thoughts, play of words, and
God,
it's
I used
nothing
to
to
take
do, and it has nothing to do with the me, doesn't it? Or no me.
no, I think. But I
Yeah.
used to take it I used to think I used to take it so seriously.
Yeah.
And it's death too, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
It's death. I mean, this is life, but
Yeah.
death is there as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
In the silence, everything is dead
Yeah.
and alive in the appearance of life,
Yeah. It's a mirage. It's an appearance, life.
an appearance of living and life and
Yeah. Yeah. And
the
reality
cat,
and all
the
that's
this, and that.
cat, this and that. Yeah. And
It's
then all of a
all
sudden, but it's all only death, deathly silence, isn't it?
deadly silence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoy that now.
Yeah. Yeah. The few talks people have been saying, people that have been kind of like following this kind of like, just this. I'm basically saying the same thing over and over again. It's already done. It's already silence, right? And it's just a better way to articulate it sometimes. And letting go of some of the languaging that used to kind of like just repetitious and everything. It's just happening or whatever. It's just this. Yeah. Beautiful.
I think there
Deathly
was something
silence.
sitting on the sofa last night listening to the meeting or something. Can't remember what was being said, but it was the silence I heard
Yeah.
sitting there that I was just reminded of now
Yeah.
today. And this, and I was like, oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah. It's always
That
this.
it kind of felt deafening or seemed deafening or something
Yeah.
or loud or something. The silence, and I didn't think about it anymore then. And then it just kind of came there a while ago as well.
Yeah. I think
And
someone
that's it.
said that in a meeting too, right? I didn't really hear what you said. Someone
Yeah,
that has stopped speaking as well. I think it was Gunver or something, right? It's just like I all I heard is candle. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So this is what I have to wake up to in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Just this deathly silence. It's
Yeah, yeah.
beautiful. Yeah. Then I go for a walk, you know what I'm saying, and look at the golden sun and everything. And so no
Mm,
matter what seems to appear, bring it on, right? Because it's just deathly silence.
mm.
When I eat, there's always there, you know what I'm saying? When even there's sadness, you know, for example, it's always there. So it's the constancy of it. It's the consistency. You know, it's
It's
like
always there.
it's always there, yeah. And sometimes it feels like this peace just takes over completely. You know what I'm saying? It's just it washes
Mm.
everything away. Um, and that's why I like it when because I haven't been angry for quite a while now, right? So when I got angry when someone was I don't know if you heard this story, someone was cursing at my dad, and of course the character just went, "Hey, what are you doing?" That kind of thing. And then after that, like I had a smile. I'm like, I got angry, although
I
there's
think
no
I
one
was
here.
actually talking to you. I was talking to you that day, actually, or the day
Yeah,
after
yeah,
when
yeah,
that
yeah,
happened. I remember you
yeah,
telling me, yeah.
yeah. That was a rare occasion, right? Of getting kind of like,
Mm.
but it's beautiful because you see it now, right? The deafening, silence just embraces that completely.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah,
nothing
yeah.
wrong with it, right? It's like,
It can't both embrace everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Well, I'm gonna stop the recording here. That Thank you so much, John. That was beautiful.